This was a good one. Saddle up. This is a good one. I'm gonna do this review without spoilers, basically just sharing bits of my life to help you understand why I felt so exposed and so seen while I was reading this book. So I'm going to give a quick synopsis about this book just in case you have never seen it or if you are new to my channel. So this is basically a dual POV contemporary romance book. Our two POVs follow Soledad, who is a mother of three. She is a wife and she has so much drama going on in her marriage, and she's left grappling with so many questions that she decides to embark on a self-love journey. And then you have Judah. Judah is a divorced father of two that he shares with his ex-wife Tremaine, and their twin boys are on the autism spectrum. And if you are not new here, then you know that my youngest daughter, she is on the autism spectrum. So of course this book hit for me differently because I love books that have autism representation, and even a little bit further than just autism representation, I love books that depict it in a very realistic way. I could tell that there was so much research that went into this book, and I also ended up finding out that Kennedy Ryan did have people that are on the spectrum partake in the editing and the reading of the book, and I just thought that was so beautiful. You can absolutely tell the autism representation is on point. Let me tell you. You basically get like three different POVs as well. One POV where truly depicting that autism is indeed a spectrum. No two people are the exact same. You also get to see that some people go undiagnosed and they do not get a diagnosis until they are either a teenager or a full-grown adult. You also get to see how parenting autism or parenting a disability can have intense effects on a marriage and on a relationship. When children get diagnosed with a illness or a disability, it is very understandable for parents to embark on a journey where they are wildly obsessed with learning how they can help their child, how they can better understand their child. But sometimes when you indulge on that journey, the marriage itself does start to suffer. You guys may or may not become so consumed with the children and what the children need that you kind of forget to tend to each other and what each other need. You forget to be intentional with each other, and the romance leaves or the passion leaves, and you may get to the point where the friendship isn't enough and then you just need to part ways. You just don't have the bandwidth or the energy to show up for your partner the way that you once were, or maybe you just don't want to, you're just burnt out, whatever, or maybe you're just wanting something different. It's so cool how the book does explore very intense, passionate love, which I have been blessed to experience. It's such a beautiful thing, and it is very intense, and it's like, ooh, when you're next to that person, it's like this electric energy. And then there's the subtle love, the soft love, the quiet love. I think that that love is equally beautiful, but sometimes if you're already in that space and you already don't have a lot to look forward to, maybe you're just unhappy in so many different areas, wildly consumed with your children, maybe some people fall into this trap where, or not even a trap, they just desire more. I get it. I felt extremely seen in their scenario. To be honest with you, if husband and I were ever to not be married anymore, we would be a lot like them. And I absolutely love that they had a very, very healthy co-parenting relationship, because even after two individuals decide to dissolve of a marriage, you are still those children's mom and dad. You still have a obligation to show them what it looks like to navigate conflict, navigate healing, to just be mature, to show them that it's possible for us not to necessarily be together, but we can still show up and be there for you. And you can just show that like we can still be friends, we can still have respect and boundaries, because we do have a love for each other. It's just different. But more than anything, we love and we adore you. Oh my God, I just love them. I absolutely love that Kennedy Ryan often displays healthy co-parenting relationships. Before I Let Go was actually my introduction to her as an author, and I love that book. I still love that book. I also love how she writes Black men. Let me tell you, the girl can write a Black male character. I have loved the Black male character in The Long Shot, the Black male character in This Could Be Us, the Black male character in Before I Let Go. She does such a good job of writing emotionally sound, healthy, and mature and whole Black men, and I love it because media shows something completely different. And even just in our life, obviously we've come in contact with men, doesn't matter if you're Black, white, or other, they all haven't been so emotionally sound as these fictional characters. And so I just just love it. I love how she writes black male characters because that needs to be represented, that needs to be seen, because there are men that do exist like this out in the world. So I absolutely adore and appreciate that she highlights this in most of the books that I've read by her. I still have a lot of books to read by her, but at this time, I absolutely adore how she writes a black male character. I especially appreciated how in this particular book, she highlights how important it is for you to be whole as an individual, so that when you come alongside someone else, you have the proper tools and the proper resources to navigate conflict and to have contentment within oneself. Speaking of contentment, this is like one of her friends talking to her, and I just love it. I love their friend group. I love their friend group so much. And she says, maybe the key is finding contentment wherever you are, whoever you're with, knowing you always have you. Soledad was just so adamant. She's like, this chapter is supposed to be about contentment, about discerning the difference between being alone and being lonely. And that's why her friend went ahead and said that to her, like, girl, you need to have contentment whether you're with someone or not. That does not mean that you need to deny yourself happiness. Stop playing with me. I highlighted and annotated the heck out of this book. There are so many lines that I could read you. We do have a few more to go to drive home a point or to make emphasis, but you'd have to get the book and just read it for yourself because it's so dang good. It's such a beautiful depiction of a healthy friendship with boundaries and intentionality and showing up how your friend needs you to show up. Let me read you something else. This was a good one. Saddle up. This is a good one. This is basically Soledad reflecting on how supportive her friends are. Her friends are the perfect balance of knowing when to support you and knowing when to get you all the way together. In this particular context, she's speaking about her daughter, and she says, she loves an undeserving man. It's a sorrow most women experience at some point in their lives, whether it's a father who neglects or a son who forgets or a husband who betrays. These men let us down and we pull ourselves back up, hopefully with the help of other women who love us in ways that heal. Oh my God. I cried so many times in this book. Don't even play with me. Or at least just got teary-eyed because, it just pulls on the heartstrings. She basically then went on to say how her sister prayed for her. And then Yasmin came by with flowers and let her cry on her shoulder because she knew that that was something that she needed. Oh my God. I love it. She goes on to say, my friends, my sisters, my daughters, my great loves. Oh, you see why the book needed its own review? It's just, oh God. Oh my God, I am just so in awe. I am just so in awe at how Kennedy Ryan nailed it. She nailed it. Oh my gosh, she nailed it in so many aspects. The biggest theme of the book was Soledad and her self-love journey. It was such a beautiful journey, and I remember embarking on a self-love journey myself many years ago, and I was just like, dang, I'm not doing a good job of prioritizing self-care, which is why I always say that to you guys, and which is why I am very intentional about it now. A self-love journey is such a beautiful and necessary thing. It can be hard at first. You do have to uncover some things or learn some things about you that you may or may not like. But then when you go down that path, it's such a beautiful thing because you learn so much more about yourself. You get to see areas and levels of resilience that you didn't even know you had. You uncover strengths. You uncover weaknesses. You just get to tap into these parts of your heart that will ultimately make you so much better. And it's so funny because when I actually started my self-love journey, I was traveling alone. I was going on solo dates and people were laughing. They're like, oh my God, you go to the movies by yourself? Yes, I do. I go out to dinner by myself. I have traveled by myself. A lot of people do not do that. That was actually me being brave. I was never really the brave person. I like comfort. I like safety. I like order. I'm not really a big fan of chaos, and I definitely don't like the unknown. So traveling alone gave me a lot of fears because I'm just like, oh, who am I going to talk to? Who am I going to spend time with? Just all these different questions. But then when I went, I had a blast. I just enjoyed my own company. I was able to rest. I was able to meet new people, just see life through my own eyes and enjoy and experience life for myself. And it was such a beautiful thing. This book will definitely prompt you to embark on a self-love journey if you already haven't, or will make you appreciate starting a self-love journey if that's something that you've already been able to do. And you will just love Soledad. You will be so happy for her and you will want nothing more than for her to win. I do think it's important to look up trigger warnings feelings. The book does explore grief. Mostly everything that I'm discussing with you is my own life experience. It's either from the author note or it's from the back of the book. I didn't want to do any spoilers because it's just such a beautiful book. It's such a beautiful ride, and I just want you to go in with just that much info and just enjoy the ride. But one of the things that Kennedy Ryan does address in the author's note is that the book does explore grief, specifically with the loss of a parent, and I so relate. And it was so sad because there's this line in here where she says that her mother was irreplaceable, and obviously we feel like that about anybody that we lose, but I knew what she meant when she said that because I've lost my father, and it's still very, very hard for me. I still get very sad. I'm even getting emotional right now because don't do this. Don't do this. Ugh. My dad was my constant. He was my person. He was my voice of reason. And so it's very hard to go on when you lose someone like that. You do feel like, wow, they are so irreplaceable, and like, how can I go on without this individual? And so that's another reason why this self-love journey is just so important, because sometimes we do look to other people for stuff that we can get from ourselves. I need to move on from this topic, but yeah, I did just want to at least let you guys know the book does explore grief. Not even a big portion of the book, but it does exist in the book, and it does matter because her mother was actually a very cool character. I was even able to relate to the mom. So I was able to relate to Judah and his wife. I could relate to Soledad. I could relate to her mom. And I just thought that was such a beautiful experience for me to just be able to relate to so many characters, which is why I said I felt so seen and so exposed while reading this book. Her mom was like the perfect example of why you need to love yourself so that you can love others, so that you can show up for others. It's like, I cannot pour from an empty cup. Soledad actually was like reading her mom's journal, and this is one of the entries she found in her journal. It says, there are so many ways to break a woman's heart: her children, her lover, her body when it betrays her. Because child, what? Life is clever that way, devising plans for our demise from the moments we are born. Death by a million heartbreaks, 1,000 regrets, 100 goodbyes. I have learned to love myself without judgment or condition. It's the only way I have enough love for everyone who needs it to love myself. No one can love me like I do. No one knows me like I know myself. And I just felt so seen in that, because a lot of my friends, a lot of my family members, they will come to me for like wisdom, advice. I'm a very balanced individual. I'm very fair. I like to see things from all different angles. I'm gonna assess that problem. I'm gonna assess that thing like, okay, maybe this or maybe that. A lot of times I can be the voice of reason for other people. And so I just felt so seen when reading that for a multitude of reasons, even when she was talking about men, child, and a heartbreak, but even more just that you have to love yourself. You are the only one that knows how to love you like you do. So that's why you know what you need in order to feel fulfilled and loved. And oh, listen, every character did me in, okay? I definitely think this could be a great TV series, not just this book, but even Before I Let Go. So basically just Yasmin, Soledad, and Hendrix. Like, they need their own series. I could see at least 10 seasons worth of episodes of us to just like swoon and indulge and learn from and cry over and laugh. I would absolutely love that. It's definitely TV series worthy. Like, there's so much content to work with here in just this book. And then, like I said, if you add Before I Let Go, we have a show banger. And with all that being said, I just could not do a review of this book by itself. And even just reflecting back on the response I had, and even just flipping through the book and seeing all my tabs and highlights and underline, this book is without a doubt my first 6-star read. I never even thought that was possible. I'm like, girl, it ain't 6 stars. And obviously you can only give up to 5, but if I could give a book 6 stars, I would give this a 6-star. This book gets me. Kennedy Ryan gets me. This will live in my heart forever. I will never not recommend this book. I am never going to get over this, and I am definitely going to reread it. So I hope that I have influenced you guys enough to pick this book up if you have not already. If you have read it, please share your thoughts and your experiences in the comments, spoiler free, because you know we want our friends that haven't read it to, you know, have the same experience that we did. Now there is one small, this is a spoiler, so I am going to timestamp so that you can move on forward. Let me give you a second to skip. Okay, let's do this. The one little thing thing. As someone that is a creator, I was like, uh-oh, I don't want anyone reading this book to think that you can become an influencer and it's going to look like this for you. Yes, some people do go viral, and when that happens, it is a very life-changing experience. But more often than not, or most influencers, most content creators, it is a slow journey. Slow. And that's why, again, I felt so seen even in that, because she chose to become an influencer mainly because her friends were telling her that she could, but also because she wanted to stay at home with her children. She enjoyed and she appreciated being a stay-at-home mom. And I remember when I first embarked on a influencer journey, and I had a blast. It was a great time. I was doing photo shoots. I was consistent. It was just so good. I was growing. And then, child, I just was like, yeah, I can't do this, because the amount of my life that I have to share is just not something that I'm willing to do. Your life basically becomes the content. You are the brand, you are the content. So it was at that point that I knew this really isn't something that I'm that passionate about and that I want to do. And now I'm just a mom who likes to read, and I like to nerd out and talk about books online. I don't have a lot of friends that are reading as often as I am, or they're not reading the same books as me. So I just created a community in which I could do that freely. I needed this. Reading is my outlet. I adore content creation. Actually, it is a lot. It is taxing and it is draining, because it's basically like an extension of a hobby that I just already do. It just works for me. It really does. And so I have absolutely loved being in this space and being a booktuber. It's been such an experience. And so back to the book. Our friend Soledad here is able to be this massive influencer, and I'm talking massive, within like less than a year. And so it just wasn't the most realistic. However, I do understand that that does happen for some people. It's not that I didn't like it. I actually really loved that aspect of the book. I even loved that that was her job. It's very unconventional. I just wanted to point out to other people aspiring to go down that path that it does not always happen that fast for everyone. So keep that in mind. So that is it. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope that you pick up this book. Please read this book. If you've never read any other book that I've recommended, please read this book. I just really think everybody should read it. I really do. And don't forget to prioritize self-care and self-love. They're one and the same. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.